Hey, what's up, everyone? Today, I want to talk about a game that most people missed. And honestly, it kind of blows my mind that no one's talking about it. You ever play something expecting absolutely nothing, just hoping to kill some time, and it ends up completely pulling you in? That was Terminator Resistance for me. This is one of those games that slipped under the radar for a lot of people, and that's a shame, because it might just be one of the most underrated sci-fi shooters of the last 10 years. Now, I know what you're thinking. A Terminator game? Seriously? Haven't we been burned before? You're not wrong. The Terminator franchise doesn't exactly have a great track record in gaming. Most of the titles over the years have either been forgettable, broken, or just downright bad. For a franchise as iconic as Terminator, it's weird how little love it's gotten in gaming, especially considering how perfect the setting is for an intense, atmospheric shooter. So when Terminator Resistance came out in 2019, nobody really noticed. It wasn't on anyone's radar. Critics gave it a shrug, some called it outdated, and the marketing? Practically non-existent. This was one of those titles that just dropped. No hype, no buzz, nothing. But what surprised me, and honestly kind of impressed me, was what was under the surface. Developed by Teyon, the same studio that later gave us RoboCop. Rogue City, Terminator. Resistance is a passion project in every sense of the word. You can feel that the devs actually cared about getting this world right. The gameplay itself is old school in the best way possible. It's a first-person shooter at its core, but there's so much more layered on top. You've got RPG-light elements, like crafting weapons and gear, leveling up skills, making choices in dialogue, even sneaking around if you want to go the stealth route. You're not just running and gunning. You're exploring ruined buildings, scavenging supplies, hacking Skynet tech, upgrading weapons, and slowly building yourself up from a scrappy survivor to a full-on resistance hero. And that progression feels earned. You start off feeling outgunned and vulnerable, and by the end, you're storming Skynet bunkers with a plasma rifle like a total badass. The gunplay itself? Surprisingly solid. Every plasma weapon has that iconic, high-pitched zap you remember from the films, and it feels satisfying to use them. The T-800s, when you finally start facing them head-on, are genuinely intimidating. You can't just spray and pray. They soak up damage and force you to think strategically. But here's where the game really shines. It gets the Terminator universe. This isn't some lazy movie tie-in. It's a fully fleshed-out experience that respects the source material more than most of the sequels ever did. The story is set before the events of the first film. It's during the future war, in that bleak, apocalyptic world that James Cameron only gave us flashes of in T1 and T2. But here, you actually live in it. You're part of the resistance. You're fighting Skynet day in and day out. And it nails that atmosphere. The burnout cities, the constant threat of drones and infiltrators, the desperation of people just trying to survive another day. Even the soundtrack is a love letter to the original films. That eerie, metallic synth theme? It's back, and it works. Every area feels tense and haunting, like Skynet could be watching you from anywhere. And honestly, the writing isn't bad either. I expected cheesy one-liners and cardboard NPCs. But instead, I got characters I actually cared about. You've got Jennifer, this tough survivor, trying to protect her little brother. Aaron, the medic with a heart of gold. Ryan, the engineer who's basically the Resistance's lifeline. They're not just there to give you fetch quests. They feel real, like people who've lost a lot and are still trying to hold on to something. There's this emotional undercurrent that caught me off guard. You're making choices about who you trust, who you protect, how you lead, and those choices matter. The game has multiple endings, and depending on how you treat people, it changes the outcome of your story. And I love that. I love when a game gives you ownership over your journey. Now, let's be fair, it's not perfect. The graphics? Pretty dated, even by 2019 standards. The animations can be stiff, some textures look a generation behind, and it doesn't always feel as polished as a AAA game. If you go in expecting Call of Duty levels of cinematic polish, you'll probably be disappointed. But here's the thing, polish isn't everything. What this game has is soul. You could tell the devs cared deeply about what they were making. This wasn't a cash grab. It wasn't a quick movie tie-in. It was a love letter to the franchise, to the fans, to anyone who ever wanted to know what the future war was really like. And over time, people started to notice. Slowly but surely, Terminator: Resistance built a following. The devs even released a DLC campaign and a PS5 Enhanced Edition with better visuals, performance upgrades, and additional content. It still looks a little rough, sure, but it plays smoother and feels more complete than ever. This is one of those games that makes you think, man, how did more people not hear about this? It has heart. It has atmosphere. It respects its source. And best of all, it's fun. So if you're into gritty sci-fi shooters, if you're a sucker for underdog stories, or if you just want to play something that actually understands the Terminator universe, Terminator: Resistance is absolutely worth your time. It's not perfect, but it doesn't need to be. It just needs to pull you in. And if you let it, it absolutely will. All right, that's it from me. If you played this one before, let me know what you thought of it. And if you haven't, give it a shot. You might be surprised. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy hidden gems, underappreciated games, or just love seeing small studios do big things, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, stay safe out there. And if you see red eyes glowing in the dark, run.